So imagine this scenario. You're 17 years old, you're on your way home from college, you stop off somewhere and you see this most beautiful woman. You're just absolutely captivated with her. You stop and talk to her. She tells you that, her family is sending her off to live in a convent, as you do, as they do. And 3 hours later, you've basically eloped with her, run off to Paris to make a new life, abandoning your family, your good family, because you are the son of a minor aristocrat. You've had a good education. You've had everything that life in that time, all the good things of life in that time. And you run off with this woman you barely know. 3 hours of meeting. That's it. And you settle down in Paris, and things go off quite well. You begin this love affair, and the small amount of money you have runs out. And so this woman then decides to begin an affair with your wealthy neighbor and actually conspires to have you kidnapped by your own family and brought back home, where you spend a good couple of years, trying to get over her. You finally settle back down into life. You settle back into your studies. You defend your doctoral thesis at university. And then you meet her again, and it all goes to pot. You end up back together. Once more, you spurn your well-meaning family, your well-meaning friends, and you embark on basically a life of crime to sustain your mistress into the lifestyle to which she's become accustomed. All the while, she is prone to leave you at any moment for a better offer, but you're just so totally obsessed with her that you can't do anything else. But you just have to be with her all the time. You're racked by jealousy, and it's completely ruining your life, to the point that you eventually, or both of you eventually, end up in prison. You end up escaping from prison, killing a man, fighting a duel, being transported to the French colonies of the Americas, to New Orleans, and falling out with your father so much that you don't even have time to make up with him before he passes away. So yeah, it's all very familiar scenario, isn't it? Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Book Time with Elvis. And you can probably tell if you've read it, and if you haven't, the scenario I've outlined at the beginning of this video is the plot to the French novel Manon Lescaut by Antoine Francois Prévost. And it was actually a surprisingly good read. It was first published in 1731. And Monsieur Prévost was actually at one point a member of the church. I believe he was a Benedictine monk, actually, who left the order. And he wrote this book, which upon publication in 1731 was immediately banned. However, it became extremely popular, and through pirated editions of this work. And it was rewritten by the author, or re-edited by the author, around 20 or so years later in a less scandalizing tone. And the book itself actually went on to become the most reprinted work in all of French literature, with over 250 editions published between its first publication in 1731 and 1981. Now, the story is pretty much as I've told you. I have left out, of course, some of the more important spoilers, and I would say to you it's well worth reading. It's not a particularly large work. I mean, this edition comes in at 175 pages, so it's a couple days read, and it was really surprisingly engaging for a work that's old. Now, a lot might have to do with Andrew Brown's translation, which, having not read the original, I can't, of course, say how good it is, but the work that he's presented to us here is eminently readable. The main characters, the Chevalier d'Aiguille and Manon Lescaut herself, are particularly horrible and annoying and not very nice people at all. They are a real pain in the neck, to be honest. However, it does not detract from the enjoyment of this book. The story is good. The supporting cast of characters are pretty good. There are moments of comedy within other moments of tragedy. Well, tragedy, I don't know. I can't say that I was particularly moved by the tragic elements of the book when it pertained to the lovers themselves, to be honest, like when they initially get separated and that kind of thing, because they are kind of bizarrely, I suppose, self-absorbed whilst being kind of absorbed with each other as well, to the detriment of anybody else who happens to come across their lives. I mean, you certainly do not want to be friends with either of these two because they will use you, you know, pretty much as they can, really. But as I said, it is a really good work, and it's definitely going to become, I think, one of my favorites, despite the fact, as I say, I have got a strong dislike for the two main characters. So that is rather odd, isn't it? So I'll definitely be rereading it at some point. I'm sure my dislike for the two star-crossed lovers will actually only increase. But as I said, none of that takes away from the fact that the book itself and the story is, I think, very well done, especially for a work that's, you know, pretty old, 1731. There are kind of, I think, shades of Voltaire's Candide in parts, perhaps, of this, but it's worth your time. So that's it. You know, I mean, it was a banned book, although for us today, there's not really much in it, to be honest, that I can say is particularly shocking. You know, the story, I suppose, is just one of, you know, all-consuming obsessive love, which, you know, we've seen time and time again. But, you know, I'm sure at the time, the type of work was, you know, certainly new enough and different enough to scandalize even Parisian society. So that tells you something. And it's full of all sorts of adventures and things going on. I mean, it's got a lot packed into its 175 pages, that's for sure. And I think you can't go wrong, actually, by giving it a go. So go for it. Okay, everybody, thank you so much for watching. Do take care and enjoy the rest of your day. All the best. Bye-bye.